The desert covers about 33% of the Earth's surface, and within these vast deserts, there are mysteries that continue to puzzle scientists, leading them to seek answers. In these deserts, strange structures suddenly appear: sunken ships on the sand, mysterious 4,000-year-old mummies, and the remnants of ancient civilizations buried beneath the desert sands. What are the most perplexing mysteries that challenge scientists? What relics could provide evidence of a thriving ancient society? And in these remote, harsh deserts, what discoveries have scientists and archaeologists made? All of these will be revealed in today's video. Let's follow along. 7,000-year-old mummy. In the Atacama Desert, located in northern Chile and southern Peru, a vast, arid desert not far from the coastline hides giant cemeteries. Beneath the dry, scorching sand during the day and the cold nights lie mummies that have existed for thousands of years. The mummies are found in various positions, lying down, sitting, and even smiling. The skin and hair of these mummies are remarkably intact. According to scientists, this is the ancient burial site of the Chinchorro people who lived in the Atacama Desert over 10 millennia ago. The Chinchorro people developed advanced mummification techniques. However, the most important factor that preserved these mummies is the dry, hot environment of the world's driest desert. The rapid dehydration of the corpses, combined with the high sodium content of the environment, prevented bacteria from growing. The bodies were quickly dehydrated under temperatures ranging from 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. In this desert, there are mummies of the elderly, young, men, women, the rich, the poor, and even animals and domesticated creatures. Notably, many of the mummies are of infants, and even fetuses that were miscarried. Scientists have used carbon dating to determine that these mummies are over 7,000 years old, with the youngest ones dating back at least 3,000 years. It is believed that this burial site contains some of the oldest mummies in the world. This suggests that the Chinchorro people practiced mummification for millennia, and over such a long period, it is likely that millions of bodies were mummified. Through this vast burial ground, scientists assess that a highly advanced culture once thrived here, with the Chinchorro people reaching a peak in cultural development long before the ancient Egyptians. 2,500-year-old remains of women sold into slavery. In 2021, an unexpected archaeological discovery was made in the Negev Desert in southern Israel when archaeologists uncovered a burial site containing dozens of skeletons dating back 2,500 years. What was particularly striking about these skeletons is that they may have belonged to women who were trafficked from other regions and buried here after their deaths. This discovery was made as part of an archaeological survey before the construction of a water pipeline in the area. Tali Eriksson-Gini, an archaeologist at the Israel Antiquities Authority, stated that this is the first time such graves have been discovered in this region, and they are not associated with any known settlements. The graves are located at the crossroads of two important ancient trade routes connecting Egypt to Wadi Araba and the Arabian Peninsula. This suggests that the location of these graves held significant ceremonial and religious importance. Through analysis, archaeologists discovered that many of the skeletons might belong to adult women, though further time is needed to confirm this. Inside the graves, they found jewelry made of copper and iron alloys, ceramic vessels, and cypraea shells from the Red Sea, items commonly used by Egyptian women as charms to ward off evil. Additionally, incense containers and alabaster trays were found in these graves, suggesting a trade in aromatic resins and frankincense, which were famous in the region. Preliminary studies suggest that these remains could belong to women trafficked from Gaza or Egypt, possibly brought to Arabia, where they may have been sold as brides or prostitutes involved in rituals. Ancient records, including Minoan inscriptions in Yemen, also document the practice of trading women for religious rites in this region. Another interesting aspect of this discovery is the positioning of some of the skeletons, indicating that they might have been moved from their original locations to make room for additional burials. This suggests that the site may have been used for an extended period, underscoring its importance to ancient communities. Ancient crocodile fossil as big as a bus. On January 14, 2016, paleontologists in Tunisia made an incredible discovery when they unearthed the fossil of a previously unknown giant saltwater crocodile. This prehistoric species, named Machimosaurus rex, is believed to have been over 9 meters long and weighed up to 3 tons. Notably, its skull measured more than 1.5 meters in length, an extraordinarily impressive size compared to modern crocodiles. Researchers published this discovery in the journal Cretaceous Research, with study author Federico Fanti, a paleontologist from the University of Bologna, describing the crocodile as gigantic. Fanti also stated that Machimosaurus rex would have been at the top of the food chain in its region at that time, with almost no natural enemies. This crocodile likely lived along the coast of Tunisia. Fossils of fish and turtles were also discovered at the site, suggesting that Machimosaurus rex may have been an aquatic predator, using ambush techniques or scavenging for food. This discovery has changed previous understandings of prehistoric life, particularly regarding survival after mass extinctions. While other crocodile groups went extinct by the end of the Jurassic period, Machimosaurus rex survived this event around 130 million years ago, prompting scientists to reconsider extinction theories and explore the events that occurred at the end of the Jurassic, of ancient animals and their survival through different geological periods. And I believe you are just as amazed by this discovery as I am, right? 4,000-year-old mummies still intact. These mummies were found in a place called the Ship Graveyard, located in the Tarim Basin of Xinjiang, China. Despite being over 4,000 years old, the bodies and clothing are still remarkably preserved. So what made these mummies stay so well preserved? Each boat contained one mummy, all of which were wrapped in wool fabric and kept in excellent condition. Among them, the mummy of Princess Sahui stands out with her intact hair, long eyelashes, and mysterious smile. Tests revealed that Princess Sahui had smooth skin, a high nose, gum-colored long hair, and an enchanting smile. She also wore an impressive outfit, complete with a tall, white, cone-shaped hat and fur-lined boots. Research indicates that the mummies are direct descendants of a group from the Ice Age, though most of them disappeared around 10,000 years ago. The most unusual aspect is that despite the desert's dry climate, the bodies have remained perfectly preserved for nearly 4,000 years. This remains an unsolved mystery that scientists have yet to explain. The large shipwreck in the Namib Desert. It's hard to believe that a ship at sea could suddenly appear in the desert, but this is a true story. The Namib Desert in Africa is the oldest desert in the world, filled with myths and legends. Some people say that the desert was created by the wrath of the gods, while others believe there is a time and space portal deep within the desert. According to them, in 1909, an expedition team came to the desert and unexpectedly discovered the wreck of a large cargo ship. They were astonished and wondered how a ship could end up in a desert. Subsequently, a large number of experts and scholars came to investigate. The investigation confirmed that this was indeed a shipwreck from 1891. It had set sail from the German city of Hombos, making the ship over 100 years old. Time has since altered its original appearance, leaving only the general outline of the ship visible. The reason it ended up in the desert remains speculative. Some experts suggest that since the Namib Desert is near the Atlantic Ocean, there might have been a waterway allowing ships to enter the desert. The ship could have been stranded here after an accident, with the river being redirected and sand filling it in, thus creating the shipwreck in the desert. Others speculate that the ship may have collided with a submerged rock while at sea, then been caught in a tornado, eventually being blown into the desert. Some even propose that the cargo ship could have been transported here through a space portal. Over the century, the ship's parts have deteriorated, and the exact cause of the wreck remains unknown. Today, the shipwreck in the desert has become a famous local landmark, and many visitors to the Namib Desert come to learn more about it. 13 intact, 2,500-year-old coffins. At the City of the Dead in Saqqara, one of Egypt's most famous archaeological sites, archaeologists made a remarkable discovery. They found at least 13 wooden coffins buried together, still perfectly intact after nearly 2,500 years. These coffins were discovered in a burial shaft 11 meters deep underground, and miraculously, they have been so well preserved that the paint on the surface of the wood is still intact. According to Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, these coffins were buried at the same time and had been carefully sealed. Archaeologists also discovered 3 other sealed niches within the tomb. and Minister of Tourism Khaled Al-Anani believes there may be many more coffins yet to be found in the area. Saqqara, the necropolis of Memphis, the ancient capital of Egypt, has become a significant archaeological area used for burials for nearly 3,000 years. It served as the burial site not only for nobility, but also for the middle and working classes, with many simpler tombs still revealing much about the daily life and beliefs of ancient Egyptians. This discovery is especially important as it gives archaeologists the opportunity to study artifacts that have never been disturbed or stolen, offering a gateway to exploring Egyptian burial customs and rituals. While it's unlikely that any liquids remain inside these wooden coffins, the carved objects buried with the deceased will shed light on their identities and importance in ancient Egyptian society. Calling this a valuable discovery that contributes to unraveling the mysteries of ancient Egyptian funerary practices and spiritual beliefs would not be an exaggeration. Syrian ruins. In the 1990s, ruins of a city over 10,000 years old were discovered in the Syrian desert, located about 90 kilometers from the capital, Damascus. According to scientists, this ancient city predates the Great Pyramid of Giza. Although only ruins remain, parts of tools, archways, and stone pathways are still clearly visible. Experts also found stone carpets resembling coral, arranged in a kite-like shape, known as desert kites, which were likely used to trap gazelles or other animals. Over the past 30 years, many people have visited the Syrian desert to study the site, but no one has yet explained why the ancient people built a city in the middle of the desert or why this ancient structure suddenly disappeared. This remains a mysterious enigma to this day. Ancient drawings on the desert of Peru. On May 28, 2018, the Ministry of Culture of Peru announced a significant archaeological discovery: 25 giant drawings carved into the coastal desert strip near the town of Palpa in southern Peru. This discovery quickly drew attention from the scientific community and history enthusiasts, as most of these drawings were found using drone technology, highlighting advancements in archaeological methods. The drawings are believed to have been created by the ancient Paracas people, dating back over 2,000 years, which is centuries earlier than the famous drawings on the Nazca Plateau, one of Peru's most renowned archaeological sites. Among the newly discovered images are depictions of a woman, a dancing monkey, along with numbers and images of orcas, which were semi-divine symbols in Paracas belief. These are new symbols never seen in previous discoveries, demonstrating the cultural diversity of the Paracas people. Unlike the Nazca drawings, most of the images in Palpa can be observed directly from the ground, providing researchers with a clearer view of their scale and purpose. According to archaeologist Johnny Isla from Peru's Ministry of Culture, these giant desert drawings have long been a major mystery in archaeology. Although many theories exist about their purpose, no one can explain why they are so large and have endured for thousands of years. Thus, the discovery in Palpa is an important clue that helps archaeologists further explore the ancient Paracas and Nazca civilizations, as well as the pre-Columbian history of Peru. These mysteries not only open a window into the distant past, but also emphasize the wonder of ancient civilizations and the sophisticated techniques and symbols they left behind for future generations. 1,200-year-old castle. Recently, the Israel Antiquities Authority announced that Israeli archaeologists had discovered a 1,200-year-old castle in the Negev Desert, in the southern part of the country. According to Xinhua news agency, the 1,200-year-old castle in the Negev Desert is built around a central courtyard with multiple rooms. The castle features a marble-floored vestibule and walls decorated with various frescoes. Some of the surviving fresco fragments are colored in red, yellow, blue, and black. Inside many of the rooms, large cooking ovens were found, along with fragments of intricately decorated plates. In the castle courtyard, the research team discovered a unique vaulted complex situated above a 3-meter-deep stone water reservoir. There are also tunnels leading to underground complexes for storing food at cool temperatures. Researchers noted that the vaulted structures allowed people to move around underground safely and comfortably, protecting themselves from the intense summer heat and drinking cool water from the nearby reservoir. Archaeologists also found remains of clay oil lamps used to light the dark rooms, suggesting that a wealthy and high-ranking landowner overseeing farms in the Negev may have lived in the castle. The Thousand-Year Gates. Dating back thousands of years, hundreds of mysterious stone structures in the Saudi Arabian desert have become a challenge for archaeologists. For many years, they have been trying to decipher why they exist and who built them. According to the New York Times, professional and amateur archaeologists have used satellite images from Google Earth to discover mysterious fortifications in Kazakhstan, the remnants of the Roman Empire, forgotten fortresses in Afghanistan, and recently, ancient stone formations in Saudi Arabia. In total, they have discovered nearly 400 previously unrecorded stone structures, which they refer to as gates in the middle of the desert. According to scientists, these special gates were built 2,000 to 9,000 years ago. They resemble kite shapes with a string and a long tail fluttering in the wind. Archaeologists believe that nomadic tribes used these kites to hunt. Specifically, 2 long walls in the structure would guide animals inside, where they would be slaughtered. The builders of these structures are believed to be the ancestors of the Bedouin people who live in Saudi Arabia today. For nearly a decade, Dr. Kennedy has carefully cataloged nearly 400 of these mysterious gates in the Saudi Arabian desert. The longest gate is about 490 meters long, while most are between 49 and 150 meters in length. In addition, the columns can be up to 9 meters thick. Stefan Kempe, a professor at Darmstadt University of Technology in Germany, stated that these gates are fascinating, and the study describes structures in the volcanic lands of Saudi Arabia that had not previously received attention. However, climate change and the current ecosystem in Saudi Arabia differ greatly from thousands of years ago, making it challenging to study these ancient structures. The mystery remains a major challenge for scientists today. The giant baby. China is a country with vast land and resources. It also has many deserts, covering an area of over 7.6 million square kilometers. The first impression people usually have when thinking about deserts is golden sand and harsh environments, places where life is limited. However, in China, there is a sculpture that has been standing in the desert for more than 2 years. This sculpture, called the Child of the Earth, is located in the Gobi Desert, Gansu Province, China. The design was created by Professor Dong from Tsinghua University. From proposing the idea to constructing the statue, all the necessary expenses during the process were funded by the professor himself. The completed statue depicts a giant baby lying alone in the desert, standing 4.3 meters tall, 15 meters long, and 9 meters wide. The meaning behind the Child of the Earth is that the designer originally wanted to bring a bit of life to the desert, as it is very desolate and empty. A deeper meaning is that humans are truly the infants of Earth. Without the Earth, we would not exist. Therefore, we should all care for the environment and live in harmony with nature. Previously, the Gobi Desert was quite barren, but since the installation of this baby sculpture, people have felt a sense of warmth. The image of the baby seems like a human quietly lying in the embrace of Mother Earth, basking in the sun and enjoying the natural phenomena of the planet. The giant hand. Rising from the ground like a giant sinking into the sand, this hand seems to be a desperate plea for help. The dry, barren land with sparse vegetation in the Atacama Desert in northern Chile might easily make visitors think they have arrived on Mars. This desert holds the Guinness World Record as the driest in the world, covering over 100,000 square kilometers. Many visitors to the desert have been startled when they see a stone sculpture of a hand emerging from the sand, thinking they are experiencing a mirage, similar to how people dying of thirst might see an endless lake. In reality, this sculpture is very real. It is called La Mano del Desierto, the Hand of the Desert. Standing 11 meters tall, it was constructed in the early 1980s and completed in 1992. The creator of the sculpture is Chilean artist Mario Irarrázaval, with funding from a local organization. Some people believe that the hand is a reminder of humanity's weakness and helplessness in the face of nature. Others think it represents the human desire, no matter how small, to stand strong against natural disasters. For many, the hand is considered a monument to honor the victims who were tortured and killed during Chile's dictatorship. Mario wanted to portray the injustice, loneliness, sorrow, and pain experienced by those who were tortured. Ancient Greek City. After several months of drought, the lowered water levels at the Buaya Dam in Çanakkale revealed the ruins of a church and baths from the ancient Greek city of Skepsis. For the past 30 years, the city of Skepsis has been submerged under the dam's water. This city is at least 2,500 years old and was built in the Anatolia region, later renamed Asia Minor. Skepsis thrived during the 4th and 5th centuries during the Eastern Roman period. Archaeologists believe that the church and baths were also built during this time. The bathhouse structure is one of the few known from that period, especially from the Eastern Roman era. It provides valuable information about architecture, construction techniques, and bathing traditions of that time. Archaeologists also noted that the Buaya Dam in Çanakkale was built in the late 21st century to support local agriculture and industry. Due to regional needs, the dam's reservoir is intended to store water, so ancient structures remain submerged, they explained. However, due to a lack of rainfall, the dam now holds only about 10% of its maximum water capacity. Turkey is one of many countries facing severe drought due to the unusually hot summer. While these discoveries are fascinating historically, the scale of the droughts in these areas is threatening food production and water security. With global temperatures continuing to rise, experts predict that the drought situation will worsen, leading to even more mysterious discoveries. Italian relics from 1943. In Italy, severe drought in 2023 caused the Po River, the country's longest and most important river, to dry up to its lowest levels in 70 years. This not only impacted ecosystems and water supplies for rural areas, but also unexpectedly brought valuable historical discoveries. When the Po River's water levels dropped, it revealed historical relics from World War II, including a German tank and a Zabello barge that had sunk during the 1943 battle. The German tank and the Zabello barge are stark reminders of a dark time in history. Zabello, a wood-carrying barge, sank during intense combat in the war. These sunken vessels are not just remnants of the brutal war, but also evidence of how World War II profoundly affected Italy's river systems. In addition to the Po River, the Tiber River in Rome also revealed an intriguing discovery as water levels fell drastically. An ancient bridge, possibly built during Emperor Nero's reign, emerged. This sparked curiosity and research into the history of ancient Rome. This bridge could have been part of a larger transportation network, facilitating movement and trade during the empire's era. This is a significant discovery for historians and archaeologists as it provides new material evidence of Rome's development during the reign of one of history's most famous emperors. These discoveries are proof that nature can sometimes inadvertently reveal unexplored parts of the past, offering opportunities for us to better understand historical events long gone. World War II bomb. The water levels in the drought-stricken Po River in Italy have dropped so low that a World War II bomb, previously submerged, has now been exposed. The bomb, discovered by fishermen along the Po River on July 25th, was found near the village of Borgo Vergilio, north of the city of Mantua, weighing up to 450 kilograms. Italian military experts were immediately called in to safely defuse and conduct a controlled explosion. A representative from the Italian military stated that about 3,000 people living nearby were evacuated before the bomb disposal operation began. The airspace over the area was closed, and navigation along the river section, as well as traffic on nearby roads and railways, was temporarily suspended. Bomb disposal engineers removed the fuse from the explosive device, which contained 240 kilograms of American-made explosives. The bomb disposal team, escorted by local police, then transported the device to a quarry in Medole, about 45 kilometers away, where the controlled explosion took place. Earlier in July, Italy had declared a state of emergency for areas around the Po River, the country's longest river, which supplies water for about a third of Italy's agricultural production. The Po is currently facing its worst drought in 70 years. The heat wave sweeping across Europe this summer has brought record-high temperatures and scorched fields, which is also the reason why this World War II bomb was uncovered. Mysterious skeletons. In the American West, the second-largest man-made reservoir, Lake Mead, has dropped to historic low levels due to the drought. As the water recedes, dark secrets are rising to the surface, with 2 human skeletons recently discovered. The first body, found on May 1st, is believed to be the victim of a homicide, with gunshot wounds dating back to the 1970s or early 1980s, based on the clothing and shoes the victim was wearing. It is highly likely that the victim's death was related to the mafia. Another body was discovered on May 7th. A witness called the emergency hotline, reporting another set of remains found near Lake Mead. The discoverer, Lindsay Melvin, initially thought it was the skeleton of a large sheep, but upon closer inspection, she noticed human teeth. Authorities in Las Vegas have stated that an investigation is underway, though the Clark County coroner has not yet determined the cause of death or the identity of the newly found skeleton. Ray Spencer, a local police officer, said, "The lake is gradually drying up due to the drought. It's possible they will find more bodies in the lake." Spencer also believes that many of the bodies found are likely linked to organized crime. These discoveries have reignited interest in Las Vegas and the city's criminal past, particularly when mobsters ruled the area. As the water levels continue to drop during this severe drought, many suspect that the secrets hidden beneath Lake Mead will not stay concealed for long. Lake Mead, the largest reservoir in the U.S., is currently about 320 meters above sea level, 50 meters lower than its level in 2000 when it was last considered full. This is the lowest recorded level for the reservoir since it was filled in the 1930s. 113-million-year-old dinosaur footprints. In the summer of 2022, the drought created a unique opportunity for archaeologists worldwide, as many unexpected discoveries were made when shrinking water sources uncovered long-hidden relics. One of the most notable discoveries was in Texas, near Dallas, where it is believed one of the world's longest dinosaur trackways was found. During the ongoing drought, the river in Dinosaur Valley State Park near Dallas completely dried up in most areas, revealing dinosaur tracks that had been buried beneath water and sediment for years. These footprints date back approximately 113 million years to the Cretaceous period. Before being covered by sediment, the tracks had been filled with water, and the dry conditions helped preserve them in remarkable detail. According to Stephanie Salinas Garcia, an archaeologist with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, these footprints are not only a significant scientific discovery, but also provide insights into the behavior of dinosaurs from that era. The tracks belong to various species, from carnivores to herbivores, and may suggest they traveled together or even formed large herds. Dinosaur Valley State Park, where the tracks were found, has become a key research destination for scientists. Thus, discovering these footprints not only sheds light on the migration patterns of dinosaurs, but also helps paleontologists reconstruct part of the ancient ecosystem. With the help of modern technology and the analysis of these tracks, researchers hope to gain a better understanding of dinosaur evolution and clarify the ecological relationships between ancient species. Nazi warship wrecks. The worst drought in 500 years has caused the water level of the Danube River to drop, exposing dozens of Nazi warship wrecks that were sunk during World War II. It is known that hundreds of ships from a Nazi fleet were sunk along the Danube River in 1944 while retreating to avoid attacks from the Soviet Red Army. Due to this year's drought, considered by scientists to be a result of climate change and possibly the worst in 500 years, more than 20 warship wrecks have emerged along a section of the Danube near Prahovo in eastern Serbia. According to Reuters, many of the wrecks still contain weapons, ammunition, and explosives, posing a danger to passing vessels. In addition to unexploded materials, some ships still have intact command towers and other structures that could damage fishermen's boats or other vessels when the water is low. In March, the Serbian government opened tenders to salvage these wrecks and deal with the unexploded materials. The cost of this operation is estimated at around 29 million euros. In Serbia, authorities have resorted to dredging to keep the Danube's shipping lanes clear. In Prahovo, some wrecks have narrowed the shipping channel along this section of the Danube from 180 meters to just 100 meters. 17th century royal treasure. Many royal artifacts stolen in the 17th century, including valuable marble items, have surfaced on the Vistula River in Poland after a dry spell. This discovery has helped solve a long-standing mystery about the missing royal treasure in Warsaw. The intricately carved fountains, columns, and marble pieces are scattered along the bottom of the Vistula River, currently at its lowest level since the record drought at the end of the 1700s. These artifacts were lost during the Swedish Deluge, a period of intense warfare when they were stolen and later sank with a looted ship. Archaeologist Hubert Kowalski from Warsaw University states that over 12 tons of original 17th century marble have now been found. The pieces, which have beautiful shapes, are believed to have been at the bottom of the river for 350 years. Carved human faces on stone. Human faces carved into stone, dating back approximately 1,000 to 2,000 years, have been discovered along rock outcrops on the Amazon River, revealed by the lowest water levels seen in over a century due to the region's most severe drought. At the Ponto das Lajes rock outcrop on the northern bank of the Amazon River, near the confluence with the Rio Negro and Solomos rivers, many smooth grooves in the stone are thought to have been used by indigenous people to sharpen arrows and spearheads long before Europeans arrived. Archaeologist Oliveira from the National Institute of Historical and Artistic Heritage in Brazil stated that similar carvings were first seen in 2010. However, the drought this year, with water levels in the Rio Negro dropping by 15 meters since July, has exposed large areas of rock and sandbars never seen before. According to Oliveira, this time, he and his colleagues not only found more carvings, but also discovered sculptures of human faces carved into stone. These carvings date from either prehistoric or pre-colonial times. While the exact dating of these carvings is still uncertain, archaeologists believe they are around 1,000 to 2,000 years old, based on evidence of human presence in the region. 6,000-year-old stone tomb. An unusual drought has allowed the public to once again see the ancient Dolmen de Guadalperal, which had been submerged underwater for nearly 60 years in Spain. This is one of the largest megalithic burial sites on the Iberian Peninsula. The ancient stone site was submerged in 1963 under the Valdecañas Reservoir, a hydraulic project in western Spain built during the Franco regime. The structure consists of 93 upright stone slabs. Many have called it Spain's version of Stonehenge, though according to Professor Bueno Ramirez, an expert on prehistory, this site is entirely different from the famous British monument. This site functioned as a cemetery and dates back to between 4000 and 2500 BC. In contrast, Stonehenge in England, built around 3100 to 2000 BC, was not just a cemetery. According to Professor Bueno, during its time, Dolmen de Guadalperal was covered by a burial mound with an entrance from the outside. Historians found many inscriptions while studying the site in the 1990s. Researchers are still divided on how to interpret the winding line carved on one of the stone slabs, but they believe it could represent a location on a map of Europe. Currently, the Raíces de Paraleda Cultural Association has called on the community to sign an online petition to relocate the stones before the water rises again and submerges them. However, raising and relocating the stones must be done with great care, requiring a detailed archaeological report to ensure none of the stones are broken. The stones also need to be scanned using 3D technology first. According to experts, the return of the Dolmen de Guadalperal site presents an opportunity to discuss the megalithic heritage of Spain. "600-year-old Buddha statue." Amid the worst drought and heat waves in history, China is facing severe droughts in many major rivers. Among them, the Yangtze River, the longest river in Asia and the third longest in the world, has dried up to the point of endangering transportation and severely affecting hydropower production. The significant drop in water levels has caused serious consequences, disrupting transportation and reducing the efficiency of hydropower plants. In particular, in the southwestern region of China, near the city of Chongqing, the drought has revealed a hidden historical treasure beneath the riverbed. As the water levels of the rivers dropped, 3 Buddha statues dating from the Ming and Qing dynasties were discovered. Experts say these statues were carved on a long stone slab and are around 600 years old. The discovery of these artworks is a valuable find that sheds light on China's religious and cultural history. These Buddha statues are located at the intersection of 2 rivers, a common passage for boats. Local residents believe the statues were carved here to pray for the safety of travelers, especially for merchants traveling by boat. During the Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644, Buddhism was a very popular religion widely practiced across China, making the creation of Buddha statues along important trade routes not uncommon. This event not only reflects the severity of the current drought, but also provides an opportunity for archaeologists and historians to study China's rich cultural heritage and the impact of natural forces on historical sites over time. Ruins of Wat Nong Buaya Temple. Thousands of pilgrims have come to visit a Buddhist temple that has reappeared after the worst drought in Thailand's history. These are the remaining ruins of the Wat Nong Buaya Temple in central Thailand, which had been submerged for 20 years. After the historic drought, the reservoir now has only 3% of its original capacity, allowing the temple's remains to emerge. Pilgrims have flocked here, bringing pure flowers to offer to the 4-meter-tall Buddha statue as a sign of respect. It is known that in the 1990s, the Thai government made the difficult decision to build a dam nearby to prevent flooding and provide irrigation for agriculture. When the reservoir was created, the Wat Nong Buaya Temple was buried underwater. Yoten Lopnikorn, 38, who once lived near the temple, nostalgically recalls his childhood memories. "When I was a child, I used to meet my friends near the elephant statue. Back then, Wat Nong Buaya was a community center where many village festivals and rituals were held, and it was also a recreational area for children. This is the second time I've seen the temple in this state, and I think we need to preserve these historical remains." Famine stones on the Rhine River. Famine stones refer to rocks and riverbank cliffs marked with water level markings, which serve as warnings about difficult times ahead due to the depletion of rivers. If the river's flow dries up and such markings appear, it is often a sign of an impending drought, poor harvests, and famine. Historians confirm that the first markings on famine stones appeared in the 15th century. Over the course of many centuries, famine stones were frequently mentioned in the media as omens of major disasters. For instance, in the 20th century, stones emerged from the water in 1918 during World War I. The Rhine River, one of Europe's major and most important rivers, regularly sees ships transporting raw materials and products for manufacturing and power plants. However, record low water levels throughout Germany have caused the famine stones on the Rhine to be exposed. These stones were engraved to commemorate past famines and other calamities during the period when German settlers inhabited the region from the 15th to the 19th century. They were placed under the Rhine to mark alarmingly low water levels, serving as warnings for future generations. The 400-year-old Queen's mummy, perfectly intact. On June 12, 2012, a remarkable archaeological event captured the attention of scholars and the public when China successfully unearthed an ancient tomb believed to belong to Queen Ning, the wife of King Ning Chulian from the Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644. This tomb was discovered in the Zhonglian area of Nanchang City, Jiangxi Province, where a team of archaeologists conducted the excavation. During the dig, experts uncovered many valuable burial items, including objects made of precious jade, gold, silver, and ancient coins, demonstrating the wealth and importance of the queen in the society of her time. What surprised the archaeologists the most was when they opened the coffin and found the mummy of Queen Ning still remarkably well preserved, despite having been underground for hundreds of years. Of particular note was the queen's royal robe, long bao, also known as the imperial gown, and her jade belt, which were nearly perfectly intact, showcasing the exceptional preservation techniques of ancient burial practices. Scientists believe that the queen's mummy was so well preserved due to the use of special preservation methods and natural materials that helped prevent decay. In addition to the mummy, many other items were found in the tomb, including jade tablets, a small box, and a cloth pouch buried alongside the body. These objects not only hold material value, but also reflect the religious beliefs and burial customs of the Ming Dynasty. Another interesting detail was the wooden coffin, which was carved with a pattern representing the 7 stars, a symbol of the 7 stars in Chinese culture, emphasizing its symbolic significance. This discovery not only provided valuable archaeological insight, but also opened a window into the customs, beliefs, and royal life of the Ming dynasty. 600 war horses in the tomb of a Chinese king. In 1964, archaeologists made a groundbreaking discovery in China. They uncovered a tomb containing hundreds of war horses arranged in rows, along with numerous precious artifacts. The elaborate tomb complex, with a significant number of sacrificial animals, indicated that it was the burial site of someone who held a high position in ancient Chinese society. That individual was King Qi Jinggong, ruler of the Qi state during the spring and autumn period of the Warring States era in China. King Qi Jinggong reigned from 547 BC to 490 BC. All of these war horses were alive when they were sacrificed, intended to serve King Qi Jinggong in the afterlife, according to ancient beliefs. King Qi Jinggong was buried in Naitu village, northeast of Linqi, now in Shandong province, China. In the northern part of the tomb, archaeologists discovered the remains of 145 horses in a 215-meter-long pit. Years later, an additional 106 horse skeletons were found, bringing the total number of horse remains to 251. All of these horses were between 5 to 7 years old. By the time excavation ceased in 2003, over 600 horse skeletons had been uncovered in the tomb of King Qi Jinggong, along with 30 dogs, 2 pigs, and 6 other animals. Careful analysis of the horse skeletons revealed that these horses must have been extremely strong throughout their lives. They were war horses, and there were no signs of them dying from disease before being buried together. These horses were slaughtered and buried alongside their royal owner in a practice known as horse sacrifice. The sacrificial horses were often buried with ancient rulers, symbolizing their continued service in the afterlife. Remarkably, the horses were arranged in poses resembling readiness for battle, as if preparing for war in the afterlife. Many of the skeletons were placed in front of chariots, mimicking the chariot warfare used in ancient battles. It is known that King Qi Jinggong had a strong passion for horses during his lifetime, which likely led to the burial of such a large number of war horses in honor of the deceased king. 46 glowing female corpses in an ancient tomb. In December 2006, while residents of Shuiko Town in Yichun City, Jiangxi Province, China, were using explosives to break rocks for a new highway, something unusual occurred. After hearing the blasts, the sound seemed uneven, suggesting there were abnormal cavities beneath the ground. When they dug into the area, they unexpectedly discovered an ancient tomb filled with numerous precious artifacts. Soon after, experts uncovered the secrets behind this 2,500-year-old tomb, which astonished archaeologists and historians. The tomb's large size indicated it was likely the burial site of a noble or royal figure from ancient times. Inside, there were a total of 47 coffins, the largest measuring 3.16 meters long, believed to be the tomb of the main individual. However, what surprised the archaeologists most was that the remaining 46 coffins were identical, each ranging from 2.4 to 2.8 meters in length, arranged neatly beside the main coffin. To further investigate, the experts decided to open the coffins one by one. The sight they encountered shocked them. Inside the 46 coffins were the corpses of young girls, all aged between 15 and 20. What was especially peculiar was that all 46 corpses were naked, wrapped only in bamboo mats, with many woven textile items placed beside them. The expressions on their faces were eerie, as if they had endured extreme pain before dying. Even more startling, these corpses seemed to glow at night, a phenomenon that left scientists and archaeologists baffled, unable to explain the strange occurrence. Through research, archaeologists speculated that this ancient tomb might belong to King Zhongwu of the state of Chu, and that the 46 young girls were likely textile workers of the time. Based on the number of bodies, burial conditions, and the young age of the girls, it is believed they were victims of a ritual suicide. In ancient times, when a ruler died, it was common for their slaves to be forced into ritual death to continue serving the ruler in the afterlife. These girls were likely considered property of the nobility, with their lives entirely at the mercy of their masters. It is hypothesized that these 46 young girls were coerced into suicide, possibly by ingesting poisoned melon seeds, dying in agony, and ultimately being buried alongside the ruler. The high levels of toxins in their bodies may have contributed to the preservation of their remains. However, this theory remains a mystery, and scientists and archaeologists continue to search for an explanation. The mysterious tomb, a nightmare for tomb raiders. In 1974, while construction work was being carried out in the Fengtai district of Beijing, China, workers noticed something unusual in the ground and unexpectedly discovered a massive wooden chamber deep underground. Upon excavation, archaeologists determined that it was the burial chamber of Prince Liu Jian, a figure from the Han Dynasty. This chamber was incredibly well constructed, measuring 15 meters long, 10 meters wide, and 3 meters high, with walls of remarkable thickness, 1.8 meters. The strange chamber was entirely made from solid wooden planks of sandalwood, carefully arranged in square patterns, each plank measuring 90 centimeters in length. Preliminary calculations suggested that more than 15,000 planks of wood had been used in its construction. Due to its complex architecture and exquisite craftsmanship, this type of tomb is known as the Nightmare of Tomb Raiders, often referred to as a sandalwood tomb. A sandalwood tomb is essentially a chamber that encases the royal coffin, with all four walls and the roof made from solid sandalwood planks stacked tightly together. Every detail in this tomb was incredibly intricate and required exceptional craftsmanship, making it highly costly to build. This is why, to date, archaeologists have only discovered 10 sandalwood tombs throughout China. Looking at the layout of the tomb, it's easy to understand why a sandalwood tomb is called the greatest nightmare of tomb raiders. The extremely complex structure of this tomb would overwhelm any tomb raider who dared approach its first wall. Each plank of wood weighs about 300 kilograms, and the planks were stacked so securely that even after thousands of years, the pressure from the wooden layers and the interlocking joints created an incredibly strong connection. To break in, one would have to remove each plank individually, a task that is clearly impossible. To make matters worse for tomb raiders, many emperors took extra precautions, using up to 3 or 4 layers of sandalwood. After overcoming one wall, they would encounter another, making it clear that this was a test of patience for any tomb raider. The 5-year-old ghost bride reveals a 1,000-year-old royal secret. In April 2003, during the expansion of a major archaeological site in Shandong, China, workers accidentally uncovered a deep, bottomless pit. They immediately alerted archaeologists to investigate the site. Beneath the earth, the archaeologists discovered a tomb that was over 1,300 years old. The stone door of the tomb showed multiple red tin powder markings, and the interior was constructed with brick walls divided into 2 rooms, left and right. Inside the tomb, a variety of precious cultural artifacts were found, including items made of gold, bronze, jade, and lacquer. Upon further excavation, the archaeologists were stunned to find that instead of a single large coffin as they had expected, there were 3 much smaller coffins. The largest coffin, which contained the most valuable burial items, was believed to hold the remains of a 5-year-old child, as evidenced by the child's incomplete permanent teeth. The 2 smaller wooden coffins contained the bodies of 2 children, each under 2 years old. According to the Book of Jin, from 317, the individuals in these coffins were the son and grandson of Ma Suyue, the founder of the Eastern Jin dynasty. One of them was a young girl who had been sacrificed and buried alongside them. This reveals that they were victims of a superstitious practice known as ghost marriage, a tradition that dates back over 3,000 years to the Zhou dynasty. Ghost marriage was a custom in which one person, usually deceased, was married to a living person or another deceased individual. This eerie practice was once common, but later became illegal. However, it continued to be practiced in some rural areas. In this case, the tomb contained the remains of a child emperor's son and his grandson, as well as a girl who had been involved in a ghost marriage. Whether the girl was married while alive or after her death remains a mystery that archaeologists have yet to fully explain. The unique water tomb in China. In late February 1978, on a small hill in the suburbs of Sui County, now Suizhou City in Hubei Province, China, the Wuhan Air Force was using explosives to blast the mountain in order to expand a radar repair factory. When the sandstone on the hill exploded, an unusually colored patch of land was revealed. The soil in this area differed in color and texture from the surrounding ground, showing clear signs of human excavation. Based on the area of the land, it seemed highly likely that this was the site of a large ancient tomb. The tomb covered a total area of 220 square meters and was 13 meters deep. The coffin chamber alone was 190 square meters, 6 times larger than the tomb chamber of Lady Tan Shui in the famous Mawangdui tomb. This tomb had no entrance, so the archaeological team had to use large cranes to move 47 massive stone slabs. Beneath these slabs was a thick layer of earth, 250 centimeters deep, followed by a waterproof layer of green mud, 10 to 30 centimeters thick. At the very bottom was a layer of charcoal, which also served as a moisture barrier. After being removed and dried, the charcoal weighed a total of 60 tons. Despite this elaborate protection, when the archaeologists lifted the wooden planks, they were shocked to discover that the entire tomb was submerged in water. It was later determined that the tomb had likely been affected by an earthquake or flood in the past, which caused the groundwater to break through, flooding the tomb and submerging its contents. Immediately, pumps were brought in to drain the water and remove the mud from the pit. As the water level dropped, the full scale of the tomb began to emerge. As the water level continued to recede, 23 other coffins began to float to the surface. Upon opening these coffins, the archaeologists were stunned by what they found. Inside each of the 23 coffins were the remains of young women, aged between 13 and 25, who had served as musicians in the palace. After King Zheng Yi's death, they had been forced to be buried with him in a practice known as sacrificial burial. This brutal custom was once considered normal in feudal society and wasn't abolished until the reign of Emperor Ming of the Ming Dynasty, 1457 to 1464. In addition, more than 15,000 cultural artifacts were uncovered, including musical instruments, lacquerware, gold and jade objects, weapons, chariots, bamboo, and a total of 6,239 bronze items. Ancient artifact worth $137,000 discovered in China. In 1990, while digging on his land in Anxiang County, Changde City, Hunan Province, a farmer in China discovered a strange sinkhole. Sensing that it might be the site of cultural relics, the farmer immediately reported it to local authorities. After specialists arrived and conducted a thorough assessment, it was determined that the sinkhole was the top of an ancient tomb. The experts quickly realized that the tomb was quite large. However, it wasn't until 1991 that archaeologists officially began a large-scale excavation at the site. Thanks to careful preparations by the experts, the excavation proceeded smoothly, and many valuable cultural artifacts were unearthed, including 78 items made of gold, silver, and jade. The archaeologists determined that the tomb belonged to Liu Hong, a famous general at the end of the Western Jin dynasty, and they recovered a substantial number of priceless cultural relics such as gold seals, bronze items, and lacquerware. However, among the many artifacts found in this tomb, which dates back around 1,700 years, one item stood out as particularly intriguing to the archaeologists. It was a cylindrical object made of jade, which no one had been able to identify or determine its function. According to the archaeologists, the object resembled a jade jar, standing 10.5 centimeters tall and with a diameter of 10.5 centimeters. It was exquisitely crafted and made from high-quality jade. Most of the jade artifacts discovered in ancient tombs are flawless and made from translucent jade, which is considered the highest grade. However, this jade jar was made from opaque jade, which made it unusual. Despite this, the jade jar was still regarded as a rare piece of art. What made it even more fascinating were the unique engravings on its surface. The top of the jar was intricately carved with complex yet orderly designs, including patterns of clouds, dragons, and unicorns. The lower part of the jar was divided into 3 sections, each depicting scenes of battles between immortals and dragons, tigers and dragons and bears. The base of the jar had 3 bear-shaped feet. These designs reflect the desires of the people at the time for immortality, longevity, and wealth. While jade artifacts are not uncommon in modern archaeological discoveries, the craftsmanship on this particular jade jar set it apart. Experts believe that the carving techniques used for this jar far exceeded those of the Jin dynasty, suggesting it was crafted by master artisans thousands of years ago. This led experts to speculate that the jar might have been a favorite artifact of Liu Hong during his lifetime. This also sparked a debate among the experts about the true purpose of the jade jar, which is believed to be about 1,700 years old. 500-year-old egg found in China. Recently, archaeologists discovered a jar of rice and intact eggs dating back 500 years in Sichuan province, China. The jar of rice, along with the eggs, was found in a tomb from the Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644, in the park of Guang'an City. The eggs, with their shells still perfectly intact, were buried in the rice jar. Scientists are still in the process of determining the exact number of eggs. Tang Yunmei, the head of the Guang'an Museum, explained that the tomb was sealed and had a design that effectively protected it from moisture and corrosion. The interior of the tomb was lined with a thick layer of lime, 2 to 5 centimeters in depth. The jar of rice and its contents were protected by a lid. Historians are still debating the cultural significance of placing eggs in the tomb. One theory suggests that the eggs symbolize the continuity of life through multiple generations of descendants. On the other hand, some believe that the tomb's owner simply enjoyed eating eggs during their lifetime. The discovery of intact eggs in ancient tombs is extremely rare in China. As a result, archaeologists are currently verifying the number of eggs and taking precautions to avoid any unnecessary damage to these mysterious relics. The 5-meter-tall giant skeleton in Malaysia. On December 17, 2016, Malaysian historian Mohd Fuad Kusari M. Said revealed a shocking discovery on Pulau Upe Island, off the coast of Malacca, Malaysia. While searching for archaeological remains on the authorization of the Malacca state government, he found a skeleton much larger than a typical human, located in a cave. The exposed bones he discovered led him to believe that this skeleton belonged to a person who was impressively tall, between 3 to 5 meters. This discovery could provide evidence supporting stories of giants once living in Malacca, especially during the Malay Kingdom period. Historian Fuad believes that the size of the skull and the bones suggests the person had an extraordinary physique. Moreover, the skeleton size corresponds to that of large tombs, such as the tomb of King Arifin and the 7 warrior brothers on Pulau Besar, Johor, Malaysia. However, these tombs have not yet been excavated, making the giant story in this area still an unsolved mystery. In addition to the skeleton, Mohd Fuad also discovered 2 unusually large tombs about 1.2 kilometers from the cave. These tombs are 5 meters long, 0.5 meters wide, and spaced about 20 meters apart. But he decided to report it to the authorities rather than proceed with the excavation. This new discovery at Pulau Upe raises intriguing questions about the existence of giant-sized people in ancient history and is expected to provide valuable information for research on history and archaeological sites in Malaysia. It is very likely that future breakthroughs will help prove the existence of a race of giants. Giant skull found in the forest of Peru. We truly cannot know how many shocking events have occurred during Earth's long transformation. Every time archaeologists make new discoveries, they pull us deeper into a fog that challenges our current understanding of humanity. As we know, the term aliens refers to life outside of Earth, and the idea of extraterrestrials landing on Earth and interacting with humans is a frequent theme in science fiction films. But do aliens really exist? In November 2011, archaeologists from a museum in Peru, South America, uncovered 2 very strange skeletons while conducting an archaeological dig in Andahuaylas Las, a city in southeastern Peru, attracting widespread attention. According to a Russian scientist, these mummies are unmistakably the remains of extraterrestrials. Specifically, archaeologist Renato Davila Riquelme from the Peru Museum discovered the 2 mummies in the Andahuaylas forest in southern Peru, one of which had a giant skull. Local television also interviewed and reported on this shocking discovery, which stirred public interest. The skull of one skeleton measured 50 centimeters, and remarkably, it was the same height as the rest of the body, which was 100 centimeters tall. This was clearly very different from modern humans. Looking at the features of the huge eye sockets on this giant skull, it resembled the depictions of aliens in the media. The skull's sutures were still visible, and the skeleton had 2 wisdom teeth. Additionally, another skeleton was found, but it had no face, and its total length was only about 30 centimeters. This skeleton appeared to be wrapped in something when it was found, positioned like a fetus curled up in the womb. Interestingly, the two skulls closely resembled the alien skulls in the 2008 movie Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of... Could they truly be creatures from distant planets? After this discovery, 3 archaeologists from Spain and Russia were the first to arrive at the site. They thoroughly examined the skeleton and DNA tested the remaining right eye from the skeleton. As a result, the archaeologists confidently concluded that this was not a human but an alien species, an alien with a giant head. The skeleton is now well preserved in a museum in the ancient city of Cusco, Peru, and this event has added yet another mystery to the concept of extraterrestrials. For the great scientist Einstein, known as the father of modern physics, once said, "The things we don't know are always greater than the things we do know." Do you believe these are aliens? I don't. I think this is solid evidence that giants truly existed. The giant finger. In 1988, a giant finger measuring 38 centimeters was found in an ancient tomb in Egypt, causing a stir in the public. Some people at the time believed this was proof of the existence of giants. According to the person who uncovered it, the giant finger was retrieved from inside an Egyptian tomb, but they refused to reveal the exact location. After information about the giant finger was made public, many people dismissed it as a hoax. However, X-ray scans were conducted on the enormous finger, confirming that it was indeed a real finger. Scientists then studied how this finger would fit into a body. After some time, experts concluded that the 38 centimeters finger belonged to an individual approximately 5 meters tall and weighing between 600 to 800 kilograms. Because of this, it was believed that these measurements matched those of a giant. For a long time, stories and legends have described giants as having bodies much larger and more muscular than ordinary humans. However, since the giant finger mysteriously disappeared, experts still cannot conclusively confirm if it was indeed part of a giant's body. Giant skeleton in the Rocky Mountains of Nevada Desert. Every land, every mountain where people have stepped foot and lived, has its own stories and legends filled with mystery. Sometimes, these stories are simply local myths with no evidence to support them. However, the legend of the giants in the Nevada desert is different. It is said that in a lonely cave on a mountain deep within the Nevada desert, a race of giants once lived. While many skeptics believe this is just a fabricated tale, some individuals, including archaeologists, have worked for over a century to uncover and attempt to decode this unbelievable story. Native Americans in Nevada have lived in the area surrounding the Humboldt Dry Lake for over 4,000 years, and over that time, archaeologists and locals have contributed to unearthing clues. According to oral legends passed down by the Paiute tribe, in the early 1900s, guano miners were the first to uncover the remains of a giant-like skeleton in and around the Lovelock Cave area of Nevada. The Paiute tribe named the giants Siteka, or the cattail eaters, and believed they inhabited the region. The area around Lovelock Cave was so rich in artifacts that despite many being lost over time, archaeologists still managed to recover around 10,000 invaluable items over the years. Legend says that they even found unusually red hair, which was not only strange considering the location and race of the Siteka, but also raised countless unanswered questions about the origin of the skeletons. The skeletons uncovered were found to be over 2.4 meters tall, much larger than the Paiute tribe or any other human race known. The Lovelock Cave also revealed traces of smoke, suggesting that a civilization once thrived there. So what happened to the red-haired giant people, the Siteka of Lovelock Cave? While archaeologists and local theories conflict, the Paiute legend claims that the giants were ruthless. It is said that they set traps, kidnapped, and harmed other native tribes. However, the Siteka eventually became trapped and perished in the cave. To this day, people continue to debate whether the people who once lived in Lovelock Cave were truly giants, where they came from, and what actually happened to cause their extinction. Giant skull in Romania. In 1940, archaeologists in Argeș, Romania, conducted an excavation of artifacts from the ruins of a fortress once ruled by Burebista, the king of the Dacian people. Among those involved in the excavation was an 80-year-old local man named Ionita Floria, who accidentally discovered a giant skull, nearly 3 times the size of an ordinary human's. However, when the archaeological team was informed, the locals who had been hired were suddenly dismissed, leaving only the archaeological team to continue digging up the rest of the site. A total of 80 skeletons were unearthed, along with large ceramic jars used for storing rice, many of which were intact and mysteriously loaded onto trucks and taken away. To this day, the whereabouts of these skeletons and why the discovery was suppressed remains a mystery. Could it be that they uncovered something about the giant race in the legends and wanted to hide it from the public? Or is there another mystery behind this discovery that we may never know? 5,000-year-old giant human bones in China. Since 2016, archaeologists have begun excavating a vast site in eastern China. This site is the remains of 104 houses, 205 collective graves, and 20 sacrificial pits. These relics belong to an ancient culture called the Longshan culture, which existed during the Stone Age around 5,000 years ago. More recently, scientists have discovered unusually tall and robust human skeletons. The bones found have exceptional height compared to the vast majority of people today. One of the skeletons reaches 1.9 meters in height, while many other skeletons are 1.8 meters or even taller. Archaeologists have stated that this is likely just the skeletal structure. As if this person were alive, they would certainly be over 1.9 meters tall, possibly even 2 meters. This finding supports the idea that giants may have truly existed, as at that time, food shortages and lack of proper nutrition would have made it impossible for people to reach such towering heights. The skeleton of the exceptionally tall man was found in a larger grave site, leading researchers to conclude that, due to his remarkable height, he must have held a high status within his community. Additionally, archaeologists discovered several wounds to the head and legs of the taller skeleton. These injuries appeared shortly after burial, possibly resulting from power struggles between individuals during their lifetimes. The mysterious footprints of giants. The question of whether giants ever existed in human history has long been a subject of speculation among experts and scientists who have spent decades searching for answers. Numerous groups of researchers have conducted expeditions in search of evidence of giants, uncovering some noteworthy traces that may prove their existence. One of these discoveries includes giant footprints. In 1912, a hunter named Stoffel Kudzi discovered a massive footprint near the town of Mpuluzi in South Africa. Experts estimated that the footprint was approximately 200 million years old and measured about 1.2 meters in length. The local people called it God's footprint. Another giant footprint, dating back 290 million years, was found by biologist Jerry McDonald in New Mexico in 1987. On August 24, 2016, a giant footprint was discovered by a team of photographers in Pingyan Village, Guizhou Province, China. According to experts, these enormous footprints were imprinted into stone. Some of the footprints, such as the left foot, measure 57 centimeters long, 20 centimeters wide, and 3 centimeters deep. These footprints could originate from ancient times. Based on these footprints, experts believe that giants once roamed the earth. However, many mysteries remain, such as when they appeared and why they disappeared, which still require researchers to gather more clues and scientific evidence in the future to prove the existence of giants. The giant sword in an ancient tomb in Japan. A mirror and a sword with an unusual shape over 2 meters in length were discovered at the Tomio Maruyama Ancient Burial Mound, which is also the largest circular kofun mound tomb in Japan, built in the latter half of the 4th century. The Kofun period is a historical era in Japan known for its distinctive burial customs, which is why the term is used to describe these ancient round burial mounds. The sword is a type of Japanese dakoken sword, but it is exceptionally long at 2.3 meters, resembling a weapon made for a giant. The bronze mirror, shaped like a shield, was buried right beside it, in a layer of clay covering a 5-meter-long wooden coffin. The mirror, which stands 64 centimeters tall and 31 centimeters wide, features strange designs and is different from other mirrors used as grave goods in Japan. While most mirrors are round, this one is shaped like a shield. It is also the largest of all the ancient bronze mirrors ever excavated in Japan. The entire burial mound has a diameter of 86 meters and a height of 10 meters, indicating that the person buried there was an important figure. In addition to these two unusual treasures, many other grave goods were found, including bronze items, decorative mirrors depicting gods and animals, everyday tools, and farming implements. Researchers believe that the sword and the bronze mirror were not intended for the deceased to use, but were created for ceremonial purposes. Clearly, only a giant from legend could wield such a large sword. The skeleton of a 2.02-meter giant. In 1991, during an excavation at the ancient Fidene Cemetery in Rome, Italy, archaeologists discovered the skeleton of a man who stood at an extraordinary height of 2.02 meters. This was surprising because in the 3rd century, the average height of Roman men was only about 1.67 meters. As a result, the discovery quickly attracted attention, and many experts began to speculate whether this man could have been a true giant. However, when the skeleton was examined, researchers found a tumor in the man's pituitary gland. This was the likely cause of his excessive production of growth hormones, leading to abnormal height growth from childhood that continued into adulthood. Further examination revealed that the man died at around the age of 16 to 20, and his cause of death was possibly related to heart disease or respiratory issues, although scientists still need to conduct more research to determine the exact cause. Charlotte Roberts, an archaeologist at Durham University in the UK, has shown great interest in giants in ancient Roman society. She believes that aside from investigating the causes of this exceptional growth, it is also important to study how such giants were treated in society. Previous studies have shown that ancient Romans were very fond of performances featuring people with unusual physiques, such as dwarves or hunchbacks. Therefore, individuals with extraordinary height, like the man whose skeleton measured over 2 meters, may have made a living as performers, attracting crowds of millions for entertainment. This story about the giant opens a new chapter in the study of medicine and biology, while also offering fascinating insights into ancient society and its inhabitants. The footprints of the giant cap, DWA. The story began in 1673 when Spanish sailors discovered the body of a giant washed up on the shores of Patagonia, South America. This individual had been killed by a spear thrust into his chest while trying to resist. After the discovery, the sailors decided to preserve the giant's body and take it on exhibition tours worldwide. Most notably, the preserved body of Cap DWA, who stood 3.66 meters tall, became a star in exhibitions in Britain and the United States during the 19th century and was eventually kept in a museum in Baltimore, Maryland. Cap DWA is believed to belong to a race of giants that lived in Patagonia, a region famously described by explorer Ferdinand Magellan as home to giant native people. Magellan caused a stir when he recounted that he and his expedition encountered people who were twice the size of Europeans at the time, making Patagonia a mysterious place in the eyes of many. However, the story of Cap DWA has sparked significant controversy. While many believe this is evidence of the existence of giants on Earth, others remain skeptical. The height of 3.66 meters, and especially the fact that this giant had 2 heads, led many experts to suggest that this could be a hoax. Historical records make no mention of Cap DWA, and the tallest person recorded in history, Robert Wadlow, was only 2.47 meters tall and died at the age of 22. Due to the lack of verifiable information, many people believe the story of this giant is either a product of imagination or an elaborate fraud. Still, Cap DWA remains part of the unsolved legends and one of the mysterious tales of giant creatures once rumored to have existed on Earth. Do you, like me, believe that Cap DWA is a living proof of the existence of giants? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. The tower built with giant bones. You may not know that the Tower of Hercules, proudly standing at the port of La Coruña, Galicia, in northeastern Spain, is not only an ancient lighthouse, but is also tied to mysterious legends about giants. The Tower of Hercules was built on the rocky hill of Punta Uras, initially standing 34 meters tall. Over the centuries, the tower has been repaired and upgraded and now reaches a height of 55 meters. Completed in the 2nd century AD by the Romans, the Tower of Hercules is considered the oldest lighthouse in the world, still in existence today. In 2009, the Tower of Hercules was honored by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Archaeologists have discovered golden inscriptions praising the god of war at the base of the lighthouse, leading to the hypothesis that the tower not only served as a lighthouse, but could have also been a defensive fortification, protecting the Roman army from enemy attacks. The Tower of Hercules is also prominent in ancient legends, particularly the story of the hero Hercules and his legendary battle with the giant Geryon. According to the myth, Hercules fought for 3 days and nights, ultimately defeating Geryon and burying him in the ground. The Tower of Hercules was later built on the site believed to be where the hero buried the giant's remains. Although excavations have yet to uncover Geryon's bones, the story of the giant and the Tower of Hercules continues to captivate the curiosity of visitors from all over the world. These ancient legends contribute to the special allure of the Tower of Hercules, a structure that not only holds historical significance but also hides bizarre myths about giant creatures. As for me, I still firmly believe that giants truly existed. Did giants once exist on Earth and go extinct? Or did they complete their mission and return to their place of origin? Could they have been beings from another planet who came to Earth and will return someday? So many questions can be asked, and the answers may remain mysteries forever. Humans have always sought to unravel these mysteries related to themselves and their planet. Humanity has expanded its research into the universe, continually seeking answers. While waiting for the results of these studies, we can let the giants live on in the rich imagination of each person. So, what are your thoughts on this? Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments below, and don't forget to give our channel a like and subscribe so you won't miss out on other fascinating discoveries. Now, goodbye, and see you next time.